claimed a LEED Platinum standard. He initiated the Environment Education Project on Green Architecture and Urban Sustainability for the Tel Aviv municipality. He established an Institute for Business and Environment with the Faculty of Management at Tel Aviv University, focusing on the collaboration of industry, academia, and government in relation to green building, innovation, and sustainability. In his architectural practice in Israel and the United States, his projects have included designs of public facilities, commercial and office spaces, residential development, and industrial parks. He has taught courses on green building, environmental planning, and urban renewal. Everybody please give a very warm welcome to Dr. Arie Nesher.
Thank you. And before I start, I would like to know, by the way, how do I move it? Here? Okay. So how many of you have been last year in the same committee? Everybody's new? Okay. Now, how much, I want to find out how much you know about environment. So, anyone took a course on environment? What kind of course?
In IB, environmental, like ESS, there is a special subject about environment.
And what use?
I've got some international internet mentoring. I am part of the Israeli Global Warming Prevention Organization. I'm doing a student strike here in a month, and I'm also the representative of the Israeli student strike in the road, and I work directly with Greta Thunberg.
Beautiful. Okay, and what's you?
I was in Ecopeace.
In Ecopeace. Okay. So, what I'll do today, in order they will not be bored, I would say I have two subjects to talk about, okay? One is the reduction of international dependence on oil, and the other one, universalizing access to clean water. What I will do is, I will talk about it, and you stop me anytime you want, and we will try to engage me, okay? Now, I'm talking about two subjects that basically is going to affect your life. And I would say, in terms of the most impact-related subject in terms of future studies, environment will touch you the most in your future life. And let's start talking, and see how we relate to it. Everybody knows about the Paris 2015.
Sure.
You know, you heard about it. Now, that was basically the meeting that's supposed to give, I would say, the framework, how the world is going to comply, work together, that the goal is what? What is the goal really?
To reduce
the carbon emission level and keep it below 4 degrees, and in order to reduce the greenhouse gases emission from each country from per capita counting.
Beautiful. Okay. So there is a general agreement. Every country goes home. Okay? Those are the participators from all around the world, and they're supposed to come with national plan in every country what the means will be in order to cut the CO2 emission. And you know the impact of CO2 emission, I don't have to reply. You know that will depend actually, as you said correctly, what's your name?
Tanish.
Tanish. So it's the issue of temperature. And what is really the problem with the issue of temperature, we'll see in a second. There are different kind of theories, whether it will be 2%, 2.7, 3.6, 4.5. Now it looks like not really, why should we care about it? This is an average, okay? And we have seen this year, and if you read reports of scientists who deal with global warming, the issue is that they see the process of the global situation, or in terms of temperature, it's accelerating much faster. The goal of the committee was around here, but that was sort of, we want to aim here. If you read today's scientists, what they are saying, we probably will get to here. Here meaning in the end of the 21st century. and probably before. And we see the extreme phenomena in terms of the world extreme conditions. If it's floods, if it's rain, if it is drought, everything on the extreme. So that means the nation have to work much faster. And that comes to the subject of, as you can see here, this is sort of the least situation, and that is the worst situation. We had, it was 2 weeks ago, a temperature of 50 degrees in places that we never had before, 50 degrees Celsius, okay? And the cold weather in America reached in some part in Chicago, it was 35 below zero, okay? With wind chill factor, it was even more. We're talking about a great change climatic-wise. So, how does we jump to oil? What is the issue of oil? Why oil related to it?
Pollution.
Pollution. What else?
Carbon emission and production of CO2 and other elements that are not desirable by the environment.
So we know we need, in order to fight the phenomena of getting the temperature lower, to cut the demand for oil. Now, what is the market of oil in the world? What affects the market of oil?
The market.
Yes. OPEC. And in what way? How they do it? Price adjustment. And the price adjustment, yes?
And there's another way that they control it. It's how much they produce oil. It affects the whole situation. So if they produce more oil, more countries buy oil, and the oil price comes lower. So the reliance on oil becomes more.
Okay. So basically, yes.
Countries can also impose carbon tax in order to reduce it.
That's we want to. But it's not so easy because carbon tax, not everybody wants to pay it. Yeah. And we know there is the problem of carbon tax. The Western countries talking about it, but the developing nation, the African nation, and India, for example, it's not so clear. Yeah, now, 100%. The history of consumption, we wanted this graph would go down, okay? And we see, basically, that there is some tendency. Remember, the world is growing, the population is growing. What's the size of population nowadays?
7.5 billion.
And what it will be in the end of the century?
8? No, it's growing. It will be
around the 9.5. What?
I just got new data. I don't remember the exact numbers, but according to Bill Gates Foundation, because the more likely when countries become educated, they produce less children, and that's why they actually, if I remember right, in 2080 it started to go down.
Okay, let's hope the
I read this article about 2 weeks ago. I don't remember exactly how much it was, but I remember that it will stay about the same until 2100.
We don't know exactly far away, but we know the trend still is going up now.
Yeah, it's going up.
But we don't know when it's going to go down. There are different
speculations.
It depends on what
okay.
It depends on what countries. In third world countries, of course, the sugar will go up. Then if you would see Germany or Italy, it's just going down.
True, but we know China is the major, basically, supplier of growth, and India too. In China, they changed now the policy of population control, and you can have more than one child, and there are some restrictions, so things are not clear.
But women are also more committed to work than to family, and that is why less children.
Right, so the education of women is very critical. Yeah. We saw in Africa, it happened, also in India, so it has to be balanced, we don't know. But in general, the way the trend is, for sure, for the next 10, 15, 20 years, its population grows. That's clear.
Yeah, that's
okay?
Clear.
Now, if we look here, in terms of energy that we are using, you could see basically the energy peak and the crisis as population is growing. we consume more. So you can see the chart shows we are somewhere here, okay? It's clear, you see what happened. China is the leading one, is the brown one, you can see here. It's growing and growing. USA is still almost level, a little bit grows, and they should show India, which is basically like China, a little bit less, but still growing. What we also know that in terms of the politicking of all this area, besides what you said, economic, there is another factor which is very critical, is the political one.
Yeah.
So the political one right now, we have a president in America. Everybody heard about him, and his policy are what? What is the policy?
America first, economic competitiveness against all countries, and that takes America out of 2015's agreement and makes it a nation that can do carbon emission just because of its military power and $21 trillion GDP.
And actually, the U.S. president has said a lot of times that he does not personally believe the global warming.
Yeah. That's
so we have a president who basically goes against the world trend.
Sure.
Nice.
Now, what happened is interesting. Who uses this statement? Who is the first one in world economy and world that used this opportunity and has the impact on the whole issue we're talking about? China.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened? The leadership now, as America basically move out of the Paris Agreement, who enters and get in the internship or the leadership role is China. What is China doing?
Investing in solar energy.
One thing, not just investing, controlling the market of solar
China's
energy.
controlling the market.
The price-wise, economic, production, everything is up to China. What else China is doing?
China's creating
transportation.
Yeah, transportation. That's main thing. Like it's creating alliances with the country that the neighboring countries don't have good relation, and they're also funding it in many ways.
Not just that. It has built railroads all the way up to Africa and Europe.
And the railroads start from
the trade war.
So we are getting now. You hear what you're saying. The oil part relate to in the economy in terms of impact to two sources, okay? Two sources mainly. It's the infrastructure of nations or the world. Who is leading the infrastructure of the world?
China.
100%. And what China does, like you said correctly, put railroad, highways, tunnels, anything you want, also schools in Africa. Every country that has a problem, you could see what happened now in South America, Latin America, okay? Yeah. Venezuela. You have other countries, there are economic problem. What happened? What they're doing?
China. They're seeking help from China.
Exactly. And when China gives the tone, they give the control. So the subject of the environmental issue are being controlled on the international part by China. But what China does at home?
China does at home. They produce a large amount of carbon dioxide emissions, and they're basically polluting the world by its... Like they're polluting the same levels as the neighboring countries.
Why China well, let's see what's happening with China. China, what is the biggest problem that China face internally?
Population and the government. The government is communist.
Air pollution.
No, it doesn't matter.
Air pollution. Air pollution.
Yeah, but like it's
what happened is the demonstration that exists in China, and you can't demonstrate in China, and they cannot press it, their demonstration against what?
Global warming.
Air pollution.
Yeah.
You have mothers and fathers with baby carriages in different towns in China protesting about air pollution. If you go to China nowadays, Beijing or any other town, I just was 3 years ago, when you go to the hotel, what do you get?
A mask.
A mask. Yeah. It's part of your equipment, a mask. So, the China situation is as
Reconnected, sometimes it disconnects.
the China situation is very, very interesting, because if the US is out of the game, China has the control through environment on the political arena, controlling many countries who needs it, through infrastructure, and that has effect on oil. And what China does, wherever there is
Sources of oil.
sources of oil in this developing nation, they sign a contract and basically secure the
But like-
supply, not just oil, also in raw materials, etc.
But like this is what the thing America does with other countries.
But America,
Yeah, like they help
But
other
America
nations.
is
Like
not
they help
helping
Kuwait.
others.
They help Kuwait in the war because they got the oil drillers, like the drills in
we
Kuwait.
talk about the past.
Yeah.
Nowadays, America sitting outside. What Trump says? America
First.
first. That means he cut agreement, cut in different agreement, different countries. Okay? All this does what it calls reshuffling. Reshuffling of economic ties. The economic ties have a differently issue related to the economic development. This graph shows the solar market, okay? And you can see the China solar market here is growing, okay? Germany is growing, you know why? Because Germany, it has the most sophisticated plan. Remember the Paris Accord? That in 20 years from now, it will be, all its energy will be renewable. So they are pushing ahead, and they're probably, with the Scandinavian country, will be the first one to move to renewable. In the total number of consumption of oil, it's not as high because the population there is not as strong. Yes?
Yeah, Germany's energy prices went up a lot because they're only using one source and they're not diversifying.
Well, that's why no complaining was the cost of energy is higher, but you know, the German culturally, they obey.
Yeah.
They obey. They don't go to the street like in Paris.
Sure.
Right? They will demonstrate against immigrants, but they will not demonstrate against cost of energy. Okay?
95 of the people in Germany
No,
support
also-
Support, right. I remember, that was a shock. I remember giving a lecture in Constance, something like 30 years ago. 30 years ago, before you were
Where?
born.
Where?
In Germany, okay? Coming to a dinner to one of the faculties at his home, and the guy was a upper middle class guy in Constance, and we ate at night with candles. I asked why, it was 30 years ago. There was light, electricity. He said, we conserve energy. It was 30 years ago. So, that's your answer.
Yeah, but not all countries can afford this. You understand?
What do you mean? What's
Not
your...
all countries and economies can afford this.
Right, okay, because Germany has the luxury to do it, okay. Now, what happened is, coming back to China, and let's continue, because how do I go about time-wise? When I do have to, how long I have, time-wise? You know, what's the situation?
We've got more time.
What?
We have another 20 minutes. If you
20
want.
minutes, okay, so we have time. Now, so as we go along and we look on the oil big players, and it's clear Saudi Arabia is first, and you see the manipulation of politics and oil, it's very clear, you know the news, okay? You see in Venezuela, next one, why America is getting into it, because there is the potential of oil, obviously the fear of China, Russia getting into the fear, all relate, besides worrying about the people who are starving, etc., but the power is oil. Now, it's basically, if the price of oil will go up, there will be more push to go to what? Renewable. If the price goes down,
Which is the United States doing.
which is, we are now in the middle, like 50, 55, but okay? It can continue. Remember, these countries want to function. What Saudi Arabia is doing now, they know they are in trouble. In the future, let's say 50 years from now, diversify. When they go to diversification and looking investment in their oil industry, where they are going now? To? Where they are doing collaboration?
They're like they have Vision 2030, where they like try to diversify their economy and have different income sources than oil.
In which countries?
China, and they
China, not America.
Yeah.
Remember, America was controlling the market there.
yeah, but
Aramco, all the investment, the Americans, where they build new plants or relate the industry, chemical industry, with whom?
China.
Okay? So you see, with the oil, things are changing. Now, the manipulation of this market is not clear. If the manipulation is toward lower prices,
We continue with oil.
where are we going to be?
With oil.
With oil. Now, there is a major change coming about it, and that relates to, okay, this shows you the renewable nowadays, okay? It talk about hydro, okay? Here, hydro looks as renewable. Who is the leader in hydro in the world?
Norway,
Norway, and?
Germany.
No, not Germany. No? China. Now, what does China
Yeah, the
in
Three
hydro,
Gorges
what they
Dam.
did environmentally? What happened? The Yangtze, what happened in this biggest, one of the largest infrastructure projects?
yeah, the Three Gorges Dam. It is criticized highly because of its because of its demerits.
They destroyed the whole environmental
Yeah.
system in China by using hydro
Electricity.
and affecting the whole
Ecosystem.
ecosystem in, I would say, 25–30% of China. We don't know the end result. And in China, you know, when you decide on a project, day A, and you're supposed to finish it the day T, you can't stop it. Has to be moved. And where the Chinese scientists said, stop it, because you may create cheap energy, because China has a shortage of oil, obviously because of the growth population, that was an expense of environment. Okay? So it's a very tricky how we look on hydro. The solar part, which is the violet here, you see it's very small, okay, very tiny to the world demand. Wind is growing, okay, and wood, we know we don't like to look at it as renewable, but the wind has a major impact in the countries that can afford it, and that's because,
But like if we apply solar panels on like 1% or 1% of Saharan desert, we can convert the desert into green land. As the solar panel will cover most of the areas, it will be shadow to the sand, and basically the environment and the habitat will support growing of plants, and it will convert the land into green lands.
So that you're right. There is a project that
If America-
European, the Sahara Euro plan, they talked about taking the Sahara as a one big solar collector and supply renewable energy to basically to all Europe. Unfortunately, because of the political instability,
In Sahara,
okay, instability, that stopped. Israel, for example, the plan for energy in Israel, because we claim that we have now natural gas, but natural gas is still polluting. It's not like coal, okay? But the solution was exactly to do similar to the Sahara with the Egyptian in the Sinai Desert, a project that will supply solar energy from Sinai to Israel and Egypt.
But there's so many problems with moving the energy from one place to another, or keeping it in
China,
place.
in this issue of movement of power, have a lot of achievement the last 7 years.
But not enough to replace the oil completely. Not
No,
at the
no,
moment.
Oil
In
isn't
the
the component
future,
that can't
The
be
oil,
replaced completely.
it will not be completely for a long time. Okay? Now, there is another component that we have to get into it, and that is, okay, starting here. I was involved in this process, and you know, Israel now, the area I'm talking about is transportation. In Israel, the Prime Minister's office declared a project called Project Independence. Independence tried to create the world less dependent on oil. That's our subject, right? And so in the Prime Minister's office, there is a particular project called Fuel Choice and Smart Mobility Initiative. Okay? We are involved in the school. We have a center which does research in startups related to innovation in transportation. Most innovation in transportation relate today to what is the change in the world, the autonomous car. The autonomous car is going to basically guide the direction of transportation in the future. And that is direct correlation with oil production. Because the autonomous car will use what kind of car?
Electric car.
Okay. The moment you have electric car, you know the game is changing. Now, why I'm telling you this, Israel today is one of the world leading area for research in smart mobility. When we started the center, it was 5 years ago. We had 10, 12 companies, startups, that we rejuvenate within the university. Today in Israel, there are 500. Just in the area, startup related to innovation in transportation. And this is amazing. There are more than 34 research centers now in Israel, and there is no one car company, international car company, who doesn't have R&D, research and development in Israel, in this area. So Israel became one of the major leading, and indirectly it relates in terms of the relation to car industries. And what happened is, you can see the market relationship when Intel buys Mobileye, which is Israeli invention, for this side. Okay? So it's a major impact worldwide. We do conference, people coming every year. One conference, more than 1,300, more than almost 1,500 people from all around the world coming every year just to learn about the new innovation. Doesn't mean that this innovation is being used in Israel, but being used all around the world. Okay? Now, the car market is going to change totally, as we said, and that, as we'll see, will have the major impact on this issue. I want to stop now because we have to cover another issue. Anybody else want to talk about it? Yes.
Yes. I hear that the problem with electric cars that drive automatically is that is the ethical aspect, because if, for example, you do an accident, so who pays the punishment? Like, the people who drive the car or the car company? So that's one of the things that stops the.
It's not stopped. It's a major issue. It's being dealt, but this is a legal issue. It's basically what the machine has to choose if there is an accident, whether to run an old man or to run a woman with a carriage. Okay? Now, that is now a subject being dealt, and that will be solved, okay? It will solve by legal issues. It will not stop the trend. It will not stop the trend. A lot of the leading insurance company, also us in Tel Aviv University, the School of Management, there is a whole forum who deal with this issue, and we'll come with a solution. Like a compensation for when a person loses his life, the same thing. So there'll be some compensation, in which they'll, yes?
Like today we see many car companies like Tesla, Google, it's not a car company that invest in this sector, invest and put money for developing autonomous cars, but still we don't see like any autonomous car here in Israel. Like, when do you expect that autonomous cars become available to the normal people?
the autonomous cars have different levels.
Yeah, level
Okay.
4. Level 4.
Level 4, it will not be, in Israel will be longer, because the driving in Israel is, it's a little bit, there is a law and there is the behavior of the driver. In reality, what happened worldwide is that it will be in stages, okay? First of all, remember, some of the countries are already legislating that there will not be gas cars operating
Germany.
in 20, 30 years, 40 years. So the trend comes. So we will have the regular cars that we're talking about in the Western world probably another 20, 30 years. But the major highways, major line of transportation or in cities will be autonomous cars. Today, in Israel, there are 50 cars, autonomous cars driving, tests. Yeah, 50 cars, different companies, different projects. One of the, so the small car, etc., and the production worldwide of autonomous cars is increased immensely. We have accidents, but we learn from the accident, but it's clear that the world industry is going in this direction. And China is pushing it. China is the leading, just now, is the leading in the world in producing electric cars, and they will get to the autonomous car because China wants to be the leader in what? One of the major goals is artificial intelligence. Okay? They put billions in this direction. A lot of centers all around China. So the relationship of artificial intelligence and the electric car is obviously very clear. Now, one of the reasons we are very important in the issue of electric car, and that's what I thought you will raise, is the security, and that relates to cyber. Why they're coming to us? Because Israel is one of the leading ones in cyber, and cyber is the direct correlation of protecting the security of the autonomous car. And the cyber knowledge that we have here attract a lot of the companies. Like 4 companies came to us and want to do a project with us, and they want us to do it because of the center of cyber we have Tel Aviv University. Okay? Now, any more question or statement about the issue of oil?
But electric cars to generate the electricity for them.
Oh,
it would also,
okay.
It would also be a process of current
Okay.
that will be burning.
The electric car, the criticism is that the electric car needs to be generating electricity, and that means that the electricity is coming from the power station, and the power station is by coal or any other. However, that is at a point of transition. You're right. When countries will go to renewable energies, okay, and remember, in the pipeline, we have source of energy that we are not still using, like Korea and Japan, but hydrogen, okay? It's a new source of energy. I'm not talking about atomic energy, okay? Other source of energy that we are in the early stages, but there are some implications. So, you're right, in the change as we happen, I would say, in your lifetime, in 40, 50 years from now, most of the world will be on electric.
Do we have that much time to wait until the entire world is electric?
That's the point. Okay? That's the point. How much the impact, let's say, on transportation will take a lot of the energy use, have the impact. On this, scientists have different views. Just to shift a little bit, 40% of the energy use of the world is not in cars. It's in
Industry.
building.
Residential.
Building
Infrastructure.
industry. Building. One of the major consumption of energy is cement. Cement. So this is now there's a lot of research going in this direction. New ways of construction, new ways of material, because otherwise we will do very nicely about the cars, but that may help the temperature, but the impact on the total energy consumption of the world is not sufficient. That's the reason why it has to be comprehensive in all areas. Like one of the things is the issue of consumption. Okay? And we know what the issue of consumption relates to. Yes.
What do you think about 3D printing? Houses that will be 3D printed.
3D printer, it has the problem, I would say now, there is the innovation, but the maximum benefit of it is not clear yet, and that is a result of new materials that have to be produced.
Because I just read an article that, if I remember, in Mexico and Texas, they started to 3D print houses in 2 days, and complete houses were made.
Okay, so what I'm saying, that's a good example of new materials and construction. Okay, you don't have to do it the regular way. You can do it by large greenhouse. But the problem is the type of materials.
Because it's plastic.
A lot of research go to new polymer materials, different materials, and has different characteristics, and that's a whole world by itself. So, and that will come, and the 3D printers will be the means to do it. But the raw material for it is not still developed. Yes?
I have a question for you regarding a nuclear fusion. What do you think about nuclear fusion, and about like specific project ITER, which is being developed by the European Union, and is it like something that we will see in the future?
Nuclear fusion depends on who we talk to. First of all, the technology go in the direction of miniaturization. Okay? The direction of miniaturization that is less dangerous. That means we don't go to the large, huge plant. We talk about small, portable, etc. My belief is because in the military they will continue to use it. Yeah. Okay? But I doubt it for civil use. It will be done because of the cost inherent in it and the danger, the long-term danger. So there's a lot of research in this direction, but it's not clear how it will be used. There are some theories that say go ahead to nuclear energy with safeguards and we will solve a lot of the problem. But you see, none of the world went in this direction, including China. Yes.
You know, as like uranium is the basic for fusion and fission. So India, like my country, we didn't have uranium of our own reserves. So we started thorium-based reactors, which are much more efficient for us, and that's better.
Yeah, but the quantity you need,
yeah,
actually, in terms of solving, let's say, to the economy of India, is enormous. Mm-hmm. And the process of producing the uranium also is energy eating. Mm-hmm. So it depends how you look at it. The issue of security, independence is one, I would say, factor in decision making. But when we talk about global issue, I doubt it would be. Yes.
What do you think about a Dyson sphere for the future?
The what?
A Dyson sphere.
Okay. What do you mean?
It's something that something huge. You build it around a sun or a star, and it will harvest power, send it back to Earth.
Like what do you know about the research being done about it?
It's in the future. This is probably not going to happen anytime soon.
Well, we don't know. So this is an example. They are. Remember, we still have another world to go into. Mm-hmm. No, there is space, etc. There are also issue of getting energy. You know, one of the hot subjects which start more and more people involved in terms of energy use the thunders. There are some projects of thunders.
Can we take 2 more questions?
2 more questions? Using as energy. No, could be. We don't know. Could be some breakthrough. Not clear. Yes.
Yeah, all those solutions are talking about the future. What if at the present time you don't have a solution and the damage is going to be so big that it can't be reversed? So what then?
Okay. So basically, it's how fast will be the innovation, and meanwhile we have to live and to exist, and that is a very touchy situation. We hope a big role has the U.S. and we hope, because if we will have China on one side and America with the new president, the next one, changing there and see the importance of this crisis, so things will move much faster. That we are not yet there. Yes.
I wanted to ask you a political question.
Okay, but sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like, what if America runs out of its barrels and are
Run out of
oil and are not able to produce new technologies to harness renewable sources that efficient what oil was? What will be the political condition America impose on other countries with its extensive $60 billion military? It's like huge, and it has bases all around the world.
Okay, so just to make you understand, there is Trump and there is another country in America, it's the military. The military in America goes on zero energy. You heard me? All this huge big army go to zero energy, meaning all its energy supplies are not related to oil.
Yeah.
Whole transformation, different technology, new innovation of technology. Some of them are not being even known. Okay, so it's a whole army. I doubt in America we'll get to this
No,
situation.
they won't.
Okay.
I'm talking
I
hypothetically.
doubt. Yes, you're the last question.
I know that there are some places like Scotland, Finland, and maybe Brazil that produce ethanol in order to.
Good. So what do you want to know about ethanol?
Why doesn't all the world spread to this technology?
Because ethanol depends what kind of ethanol. One of the issue of ethanol is being used, let's say, the corn. So you use corn for ethanol, so the corn is also a feeding source of starch, or you use other things. Ethanol, first of all, there's some pollutant element in ethanol compared to solar. It's looked like an in-between solution. Like in the car industry, right? You can put 10-20% of ethanol within the car. Some cars are run on ethanol, okay? But it's not clean energy as solar or wind. So it's an intermediate solution, and it fits to some countries that has the raw material.
But I hear that in order to feed cows, in the process of doing the corn thing, so there is like a trash of all of the corn things that are just.
I know, but then if it's not the corn itself, so it's the leftover of the corn.
Yes.
The amount that you have, it's good for certain area that has the raw material to supply, but it's not a world solution. Even the price is attractive sometimes. Yes.
Great. Can we say maybe thank you to Dr. Nesher for engaging you guys in this talk and for coming today?
Thank you.